Hello viewers and student friends. Today we will discuss the lesson Macbeth, which was actually a play written by William Shakespeare. Macbeth is a tragedy, and it is thought to have been first performed in 1606. The play is not itself a true story, but many of the figures and events in the play are rooted in real history. Let me highlight a brief account of the writer. William Shakespeare was born in England in April 1564. The exact date of his birth is not recorded, but it is most often celebrated around the world on 23rd April. He was baptized on 26 April 1564 and died on 23rd April 1616 at the age of 52. He was an English playwright, poet, and actor, widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest dramatist. He is often called England's national poet and the Bard of Avon. His works include 36 plays and 154 sonnets. Before we go into the lesson, let us go through the characters of the play. Macbeth, a Scottish general in the army of King Duncan, Thane of Glamis, Thane of Cawdor, and later King of Scotland. Macbeth is the main character in the story. He was a valiant lord and close relative of King Duncan, King of Scotland at the time. Macbeth was greatly respected for his heroism, especially because he had lately defeated a rebel army that was assisted by the troops of Norway. Lady Macbeth, wife of Macbeth and later Queen of Scotland. Duncan, present King of Scotland. Malcolm, elder son of King Duncan. Donalbain, another son of King Duncan. Banquo, Macbeth's friend, who is a general in the army of King Duncan. Fleance, son of Banquo. Macduff, Thane of Fife, and the three witches, who signifies darkness, chaos, and conflict. As the story begins, we can see the two Scottish generals, Macbeth and Banquo, returning victorious from this great battle. On the way, Macbeth and Banquo encountered three witches who made some predictions about Macbeth and Banquo. These witches predicted that Macbeth would become the Thane of Cawdor and the King of Scotland. They also predicted about Banquo, saying that though Banquo would never become king during his lifetime, his sons would become kings of Scotland. These witches then turned into air and vanished after making the predictions. However, Banquo warned Macbeth to be cautious because those supernatural creatures often deceive them and let them do wrong. Soon thereafter, Macbeth discovered that the first prophecy of the witches had come true as he was made the Thane of Cawdor. This led him to believe the rest of the prophecy made by the three witches. In the meantime, King Duncan, along with his two sons, Malcolm and Donalbain, paid a visit to Macbeth to honor him for his victory in his wars. They were warmly welcomed by the treacherous Lady Macbeth, who had the art of hiding her evil intentions with her smiles. When she came to know about the strange predictions of the three witches from her husband, she started to harbor the desire to become the queen, being a very evil and ambitious woman. She not only encouraged Macbeth, but also suggested him to kill the king to fulfill the prophecy. On the other hand, King Duncan went to bed early that night out of extreme tiredness and fatigue from the journey. In the middle of the night, when King Duncan was fast asleep, Lady Macbeth compelled him to kill the king. But Macbeth was not able to murder his king because he was his guest, so it was his duty to protect him, and also because he was a close relative of the king. On finding that her husband was incapable of killing the king, Lady Macbeth herself took the dagger and went to kill the king. But she found that his face resembled her own father and did not have the courage to perform the act. Coming back, she provoked Macbeth once again to kill the king. When he hesitated, she accused him of his fickleness and cowardice. At last, Macbeth gathered courage and took the dagger in his hands. Then he softly stole in the dark room where Duncan was sleeping. At first, Macbeth was afraid, but soon he got rid of the fear and stabbed Duncan to death with his dagger. Just after the king's murder, one of the grooms who slept in the chamber laughed in his sleep, and the other cried out, "Murder," which woke both of them. But they said a short prayer and went off to sleep again. After this, Macbeth again thought he heard a voice which cried, "Sleep no more, Macbeth, murder sleep, the innocent sleep that nourishes life. Glamis hath murder sleep, and therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more, Macbeth shall sleep no more." At this time, Macbeth's mind was filled with such horrible imaginations that he returned to his wife. Seeing him confused, she scolded him and sent him to wash his blood-stained hands. In the morning, people came to know about the death and murder of King Duncan. Macbeth and his wife acted innocent and tried to make a great show of grief and sorrow over the king's death. Yet the entire suspicion fell upon Macbeth because the king had died under mysterious circumstances and because the murder had taken place at Macbeth's castle. So we have come to the end of part 1. Stay safe and see you in the next video. Thank you.